Hey guys, welcome back. This is ChosenArchitect, and today we are going to be messing around with some Astral Sorcery. So, I hope you guys are ready. So today, like I said last episode, we are going to be starting some Astral Sorcery. So, Astral Sorcery is by far one of my favorite, it's definitely up there in my top 5 mods of all time. And the reason is just because of how cool some of the magic stuff is within that. And I guess you can call it magic. It's all linked with the stars and all kinds of celestial stuff. It is really cool and fits really well in Minecraft, I think. So we have some things that we need to do. And I think that, if I remember, I set up, well, you know what? We could probably just fly there. Over in this direction, we have a couple of things that that we're gonna have to find. For one thing, you're gonna need to kind of look around. If you haven't already got to the point that I am, you need to kind of look around in sandy areas, such as the desert, or such as these open ocean areas, and you're gonna find aquamarine shale. Now, when you break that, you're gonna get some of this aquamarine that I have in my hand. And that's going to be the basis of this whole mod, and you're going to find that it's going to be all in little sandy areas. You might even find it in areas like this. You can see little pondy areas. You can find it. You'll find it in rivers, but that's the place where you're going to find aquamarine shale. Now let's go ahead and take a look. There's actually a book, a tome, that you're going to need, and you're going to need some parchment, and you're going to need that aquamarine. We're going to need to make this stuff because this book is super important for getting started with Astral Sorcery. So when we open this up, you'll be presented with discovery. You can actually hold down W to auto zoom in, or S to zoom out, or you can use your scroll wheel to do the same. It's going to talk to you a little bit about everything you need. This is going to be your complete guide. Everything is in this book, and it is an absolute wonderful guide. So you can see right here, our focus is going to be getting a resonating wand. In here, we're going to need some marble, an ender pearl, and it tells you a little bit about how you're going to do that. You need to find a ancient shrine, and luckily we have one of those, so let's go ahead and get ender pearl. So grab some ender pearls and some marble. We should totally have some of all of this, and we even have some aquamarine. So let's go ahead and head on over. And by the way, with it being dark, it's way better, because everything in Astral Sorcery, for the most part, you're going to be spending your time in the dark. So it's really nice. But up here we have 2 shrines. Like, it doesn't get better than this. So let's go ahead, and we've already broken into this one. Let's just go ahead and head down inside. And if you remember, at the beginning of these episodes, I kind of talked a little bit about this. This guy is super cool. What you're going to need, though, I'm going to kind of explain things without looking in this book, because I've done this before, is you're going to place this down. When you do that, you're going to see it's going to sort of point to this. And within here, we're going to be able to craft what was shown in our book. Just like this. And that's going to get us a resonating wand. Just like that. Now, you cannot craft a resonating wand in a normal crafting table that is not linked. So if that's not linked, watch this. Oh, it's linked now, but if this wasn't under here, let me try and find a better place to show this. If this crafting table is not linked, it will not function that same way. So just outside, we go to do this, it's just not going to work. It has to be under there for it to function. So this is not the only thing that you're going to have to craft here either. So if we place that, it's perfect. Let's go ahead and look back in our book. So we have a resonating wand. We actually need a luminous crafting table. This is another thing that has to be crafted in this method. But once we have this luminous crafting table, we can kind of start to do things. So you can see right here, we are going to need some marble and some sooty marble. So the best thing to do is probably set this as a shrine. So Astral Sorcery. And it looks like we have too many places, so I'm going to go ahead and knock one off. This will be our Astral Sorcery, and we'll head back home. Because I need to make some sooty marble. and that is just coal. There we go. So now we have some sooty marble, and we should have mostly everything. We need another crafting table, which is not too difficult to throw in here. And that's about it. I'm pretty sure this is just specifying any type of marble will work. So, now that we have that, we can go back to our Astral Sorcery Shrine, and we should be able to make our table. If I remember correctly. It's one of these, right? Oh no, it's a crafting table. There we go. There's our Luminous crafting table. And this is how everything is going to work. You can see we just unlocked expansion. So now we have a whole other tab. So let's go back into discovery real quick and just make sure we've got everything. So it just talks about pretty much everything we've made. We made the resonating wand, Luminous crafting table, sooty marble, and now we're able to move on to our next step, and that is to move on into exploration. And now it's going to talk a little bit about how to set up and utilize our Luminous crafting table. While we do this, let's go ahead and take some of these constellation papers out of here, because these guys are actually important. You can also shift right click, and you can open up an inventory inside your astral tome, and this will let you store your constellation papers. And then inside here, you'll now see that you have some constellations stored, and you have those papers in here. So best place to do that. And now that we have that done, let's sort of talk about some other things, because there's not much we can do right now because it's daytime. So we kind of have to wait until darkness is upon us again. So just as it's becoming nighttime, I kind of wanted to just show you guys a little bit about this light well and just how everything you do in here is pretty much going to need it to be dark, because the power is going to be coming from the stars. So you definitely need stars to be out for that to work. So let's take a look at the light well. This is going to tell us that we need to basically use our new table in order to craft this. So we're going to need some runed marble and a rock crystal. And you're like, oh, we need rock crystals. So we need to kind of go down here to our rock crystals and how we find them. I'm going to kind of explain that to you. You're going to need a resonating wand that we just made, and you're going to look around for stuff like this. And you're going to see that that is going to be all over the place, actually. You're going to find these little areas, and what you're going to do is you're going to dig all the way down till you hit the very bottom near bedrock. It should be right around the bedrock level, and it should be specifically there. And you'll find like 1 or 2 or 3 rock crystal ores, and you're wondering what's rock crystal look like. Well, I don't want to dig all the way down there to show you, but let's take a look. We have it in here. And yeah, we have some rock crystal. It's kind of crazy, but our miner actually has mined up rock crystal. We were doing this a long time ago. This stuff actually generates in any biome as long as you have the laser. It also starts to work on a tier 2 drill, which we've had going. So you'll find this around bedrock. It'll look just like this. And what you're going to do is just mine it. And it doesn't stack, so keep that in mind, because each thing has its own specific value. So yeah, you're going to want to mine some of this stuff up and use it, because this is going to be very important for our future endeavors. So let's go ahead and throw this in here. I'm not too worried currently about how the stats are. But, you know, you might want to keep that in mind. Also, the higher you're up, I want to mention this, the higher up we are, the better this light well is going to work. So for right now, I'm just going to place it on top of this tree. It's not really going to matter right now, but it will later. But you can see this whole thing is filled with light. This whole bar is filled, which means that we should be able to craft everything we need. All right, so let's go ahead and look back in our book and kind of see what we need to make this light well. Runed marble, chiseled marble, rock crystals, and some aquamarine. Okay, so that's pretty doable. We need some aquamarine. I'm going to make about 4 of these light wells for right now. So I need 4 rock crystals. We're going to need some marble. And we're also going to need a chisel. Because, in my opinion, that's like the best way to get the different chiseled materials. You can see we can get ruined marble this way, split it up, and we should be able to get chiseled marble, which I believe was the other material that we needed. It was just chiseled marble. So yeah. So what we want to do is go up here, and we're going to click on this. We're going to open up our Luminous table. We're going to make sure we put everything in here the way that we want it, or the way that it was asked for. Put the crystal in, and now that everything's in there, we just hit it with our resonating wand. We step back, and we enjoy the light show, because this guy is being crafted. So yeah, so we should be able to continue this, just like so. And the only thing we should need to put in here is our rock crystals. And just make sure it's nighttime, because this bar right here will actually disappear when it becomes daytime. So you're definitely going to want, and you're going to want to make quite a few of these, because these light wells are very important. Even early game, they're very important. They're really important late game. So there we go. Especially the automation of them. We're going to talk about that here in a second. What's the best way to get liquids and utilize some of this stuff? All right. So with that done, we have 4 light wells. And we're like, well, what do we need to use this light for? It's going to be used in further crafting recipes later on down the road. And we could probably also set these up right here. I'm just going to set them up next to our thing on this tree. And then I'm going to go ahead and throw some aquamarine on top. And what that's going to do is, sometimes they'll break, but these guys are going to start generating some light. Now, if you have extra rock crystals like I have, rock crystals last a lot longer up there. So you can actually generate a lot more light that way as well. You can also generate light down here. Also keep in mind that these can do more than just make light. So let's go into Astral Sorcery. These light wells, depending on what items you put in them, will generate different things. And you can see netherrack actually generates lava, and ice generates water. Snow generates water as well. And you can have these items placed on top. So after we have quite a bit of light sort of stored up here inside of our light wells, like right now I think we have 2 buckets worth. I'm going to go ahead and nab 1 bucket, and we're going to use this to craft a phosic resonator, or phosic resonator. I think it's phosic resonator. But this guy is going to let us know where we want to place our new starlight crafting altar, because yes, we are going to be upgrading this thing. Also, I might as well grab the other bucket, just so we have some more being produced. But let's go ahead and make this thing. This is going to show us where the most light or starlight energy is going to be at. So this thing is definitely well worth making. We are going to need some gold, it looks like. So I'll grab a gold, or grab a piece of gold. We'll come up here. We'll get this bad boy made. So this is going to, I don't know if it requires specifically just plain marble. We'll find out. If it does, yeah, I think it does. So if it does, then we just go into the chisel and give ourselves just regular marble. That should work. I don't know if it has to be astral marble. Might have to be Astral Sorcery marble, which is this marble. I believe it does have to be Astral Sorcery marble. So we should have enough light to make this thing. We only need 1 of these, but it still has to be nighttime for this to work. So what you want to do is hold this in your hand and just sort of look around, closer to the ground, of course. You just want to have this in your hand, let it be dark, and just kind of wander about, because you'll see these plumes of purple, kind of, that you're going to want to find. You don't necessarily have to find them, but they are definitely useful. Now, I'm not having the best of luck, at least around our base. I don't see any. Maybe when we get up here, I'm hoping that we find some. But like I said, it's not always a guarantee that you're going to find this. I'm hoping close enough to the ground to be able to see it. and I really want to show you guys. So I'm gonna do some looking around, and hopefully I find some of this that I'm talking about. That way I can show it off to you guys. Okay, so over here's the base. This is what it looks like. So this right here would be the best suitable place for us to start building our altar. The problem is it's not really that close. Over here's another promising area. That seems to be like the only areas though that I have found that work. These are also some other Astral Sorcery machines. Oh, it looks like, okay, so over here. Oh wow, this is a pretty large area. This is actually closer to our base. I was hoping there was going to be one like in this general area. I cleared this out for some of our stuff. But that's okay. We can actually get away with our astral stuff being here. This is a pretty large area that this is covering. And we definitely want our stuff to be in this general area. That'll be perfect. So we can just extend our pathways over here, of course, making sure mobs are gone. So I'm going to go ahead and get that done. I'm going to get ourselves some platforms, sort of get ourselves some walking paths, even though I fly everywhere, and clear out some area, clear out some trees. And this is where we're going to start building some of our, multi-block structures. So just as it's starting to get dark in game, we should be able to start working on our altar. Now, man, I really love this shadow step because, I can be like right here, and this skeleton doesn't even realize I'm here. So mobs kind of just leave me alone, which is just really overpowered in my opinion, but is absolutely wonderful when you want to build stuff. So I went ahead and gathered some of the materials we're going to be needing. If we take a look in our book again, we sort of need to move from our light well, which we've done. And also we have this infused wood here, which is something else that is entirely new to me. I'm not too familiar with the infused wood, but I'm sure it has something to do. It says infused wood materials, starlight empowers them. So I'm guessing it's something to do with mixing starlight with this wood. So this is going to be something we'll probably have to use later on. This is something that has been added. This mod has been updated. I have not actually played this since it has had a major update. So it's going to be kind of nice to be able to mess with this. But I do know some of the basics, and that is to at least get our altar built. And right here tells you some of the things, and you can kind of look through here and see what you need to build this. Now, I kind of already know most of the steps required to make a altar for this. So we're going to need some sooty marble, and this is going to sort of go like this. Now, remember, this area is actually probably the best place, but this is still inside that little bit of an area. So I want to keep it as far away from the edges as possible because, but I also still want to keep it in the highly concentrated area, which is where you see the little starlights. So I'm going to go ahead and place down my Luminous crafting table. And I'm going to continue this. So we just kind of, on the sides, place this down in sort of this Mickey Mouse ear style build. And then we're going to start working with a bit of the marble. So this marble needs to be the Astral Sorcery stuff. And we're just sort of build around it, just like so. It's so crazy. I've built this thing several times. And you do have to upgrade this each time. So I still have to look at the book though. I'm not 100% always. And you can see right here, this bottom piece is not actually the piece that I need. So you kind of need to pay attention to that as well. But on the outside, we can start changing things. So let's go ahead and break these corner pieces off because we don't need them. We can go ahead and start working with this different type of marble. I'm going to be switching it to marble arches. Marble arches are going to be lined along the sides. I'm still going to leave this spot empty because I don't think we wrap it around. At least that I remember. I don't remember wrapping it around. Of course, we're going to have to look. Yeah, it doesn't wrap around, but it does come to this angle here, or this point. So there we go. So now that that's done, pretty simple. We're going to go ahead and make ourselves some pillars, and we're also going to make some chiseled marble, as chiseled marble is what fills these holes. Then we're going to do 2 of these marble pillars, just like that. On top of those is going to get another block Just like that. And voila, this thing should be pretty much done. Now, the only thing we have to do is upgrade to this altar. To do that, we're going to need a rock crystal, liquid starlight, chiseled, and the marble. So this right here is going to go something like so. And then in between that is going to go a rock crystal. Luckily, that keeps its inventory. And then a bucket of liquid starlight, which we have here. So I just need to go grab, as you can see, I made a little pathway here. Just to kind of give it some looks. Let's go ahead and get a crystal. Doesn't really matter how, you know, the quality of it, because that's not so important right now. So now that this is done, I can place the rock crystal in there. It shows that this is what we're going to be making, and it has to be placed in this platform. And then we click this, and this is where the magic happens. We are about to upgrade this to what I would call the tier 1. This is our base Luminous crafting table. We are about to upgrade this to what I would consider our tier 1 crafting table. It does take a bit of time, just a tad bit. But when this upgrades, we're going to have extra slots, and it's going to be a bigger table. I mean, look at that. Also, in our book, we unlock a new section called Attunement. So this is where things start to get a little bit crazy. And I want to kind of already show you guys that what you need to really focus on is making star metal. But the crazy part is if you have the same setup as me, star metal is not going to be too hard. But I'm going to show you the thing you're going to need. You're going to need to make a linking tool. That's going to require rock crystals, some sticks, some aquamarine. We're still going to need a linking tool. You run over here and grab another rock crystal and some sticks, and we'll also grab, let's see, we need stick, we needed aquamarine, and what else was it? So sticks, aquamarine, wood. There were some logs in there. Just a couple of logs, and of course our good old-fashioned crystals. So I'm gonna grab a couple of those. Seems like most of these recipes require them. So inside this, by the way, you can also place down your light wells. It kind of gives you little bits of spots to kind of place them. But you can put things inside the altar. This thing will still function. You're noticing the day, as the day goes through, this right here is going to tell you how much starlight you actually have. And as you can see, the moon is going down and the sun is going to be coming up soon. So we probably need to get this done fast. So right here is sort of this. It was like this, a rock crystal in the center, and a couple of logs. That's going to make our linking tool. And it looks like we should still have enough light available to make this. Ah, we just ran out. You can see right here is the cutoff. Now, there are ways of boosting your starlight, and that would involve making some lenses. That was in our other section. So if we go back into this section, we can kind of see that right here, these spectral rays are actually how you would set them up. And you would build this little platform, and these would actually, when you place a lens in, you can place, I think, 4 of them, or you can place 8 of them. Eventually they start to not work so well, but you can place like 2 here, 2 here, 2 here, 2 here, around the whole thing, and it will help boost your starlight even during the day. And it will link to your center point. So pretty cool. We might actually make some of those. Those are usually pretty good choice to make. But yeah, I'm gonna have to wait till another night rolls around. So here we are, another night. We're gonna try and relight this thing, get this thing going, and get ourselves a linking tool. This will be the main progression point in this mod. And voila, we have a linking tool. All right, so let's sort of talk about this linking tool, because this is actually really important. So what you can do, or have been able to do, it does tell you in your book a little bit about the things you can do with this. So let's pull on over to here. It talks about linking and your iron transmutation. Now you can do more than just transmutate iron. You can transmutate several things, as it talks about here. There are several different blocks that can be transmutated. But a crystal lens is going to help you transmutate. But you don't, as far as I remember, you don't specifically have to have a transmutation, but that is how you're going to get star metal. So let's take a look at iron. So I'm just going to kind of show you this. We can kind of skip most of this, or the grind for it, because star metal is also another one of those things that we have generated through our laser miner. Just another thing. But we're going to go back to our room again. This time, I'm going to go ahead and fill this whole bottom area up. Just like that. And what we're going to do is I'm going to place some iron. Place some good old-fashioned iron down. And then I'm going to break the ceiling. That may sound like, why are you doing that? Why would you do that? Well, we're going to need this open to the sky. Star metal will not turn into, or iron will not convert into star metal unless it's open to the sky. So we'll just clear all this out. And this is where we use the linking tool. We'll click on here, it's selected the crystal, and then we'll click on what we want it to link to. And so I'm just right clicking, by the way. And I'm just selecting and then choosing the block that I want it to link to. And you can see that now there are beams of light that are streaming to our iron here. And for some reason, our water got all derpy on us. But yeah, this is only going to affect the blocks that are currently, yeah, as you can see, these have already turned into star metal. By the way, if it's nighttime, it works way faster. So just keep that in mind. But this is how you would normally get star metal. And yes, it works a lot faster at night, as you can see. So I'm going to go ahead and get this cleared up. And look at this. This is already converted into star metal. It's kind of ridiculous. And so yeah, you just mine this stuff up. There we go. And you repeat the process. You can just literally place this back down again. It's automatically going to be linked to that location. And this, you could set up automation for this fairly easy if you really wanted to automate it. I don't think we're going to need to, but this stuff right here can be crushed down or smelted. I think if it's crushed in like a pulverizer, it gives you star dust. If it's smelted, it gives you star ingots. You're going to need both of those materials to sort of progress through Astral Sorcery. Yeah, just kind of a neat thing. I wanted to show that because we're actually generating this other way. So think of this kind of like how Botania works, you know, with the flower. Except for you can technically fill this whole room with this material and just link multiple places to this floating crystal. Now, I think that the floating crystal can actually be made in this pack. Yeah, you can actually make the floating crystal. There's some other cool things that I want to talk to you before we wrap up today's episode. I do want to show off a few cool things that we can craft that I think is amazing. And that is our powder, our luminous powder, which was actually in the exploration, I believe. So we have a couple things. We have nocturnal powder and illumination powder. This stuff is super cool to make. And we're going to make ourselves an illuminating wand with that. And you can see we now have the ability to do that. The illuminating wand does take a little bit to get to. And you can see it requires that stardust and a resonating gem. The resonating gem is going to be something we'll cover next episode, because I don't really have enough time, unfortunately, to cover it in this episode, but we will eventually get to it. So we do need to get this pulverized. Let's go ahead and do that. We'll go ahead and grab a couple of these. We'll get those converted. Now, these should not just start cooking up, right? They're just, the dust doesn't cook. The ore cooks, though. So the ore will turn into star metal, where this will just grind it up. So we have two separate things that we need to keep in mind. Okay, so let's go ahead and make some of that powder. So let's get some glowstone before we run out of time. Aquamarine, and there was the nocturnal powder, which is black dye, some of that illumination powder. So we need some coal, and then we're also going to need ink sacks. We're also going to need lapis. So this is going to make something else. I want to show you what both these things do. They are pretty cool, and they will be very useful later on. There was also something else that is very useful. that produces light, and that is the cave illuminator. This thing is also another thing that I recommend making, and we might actually place that nearby. So with this in here, you can actually craft the lower tier materials in here as well. So we can just whack that, and voila, we have ourselves some illumination powder. Now, illumination powder is really nice. You can just place that, and what it does is it emits light. Look at that. You get these cool little light particles. This can be, I don't think the color of this specifically can be changed, but when you put it in an illumination wand, your illumination wand can be changed. You can actually change the colors that these lights emit. All right, so now that we have that, let's go ahead and make the darker version and hope we have enough to be able to do this. We should. This is going to make the dark stuff. All right, let's go ahead and throw that out and make some nocturnal powder. So this stuff is the scary stuff. When you place this down, it spawns mobs. Yeah. And that giant plume of stuff, after it, you know, there's a chance that it can spawn a bunch of mobs. It's usually better at night. Yeah, let's get away from that guy. But you have like this guy here. I don't even know what that is. A dweller? So yeah, you want to stay away from that wizard. But still, this is just, it's just super cool. Some super cool stuff you can do. Now, the cave illuminator is something that we're probably going to have to wait another night for. But when you place the cave illuminator down, it will illuminate an area around it. And it's quite a distance, actually. Tells you, I think it tells you in the book how far. Maybe it doesn't. This book isn't exactly like detailed. It just sort of gives you the lore almost of the item. But I don't exactly remember the exact size, but it is quite large. And don't place it near your mob farms, as it will light up the inside of your mob farms. And you don't want that to happen, because I mean, I'm honestly scared to place it over there because I'm afraid it might actually reach all the way over here where I have a mob farm, which is like under this area. So yeah, that could be a thing. So guys, I hope you enjoyed today's episode and learned a little bit of something about Astral Sorcery, as I absolutely love this mod. There's still more to come. This mod is super crazy in depth, and when we start to attune ourselves, which we'll probably get into next episode, we can start to do some pretty cool things. So guys, I hope you stick around. I'll see you in the next episode, and as always, thanks for watching.